Wow. Wow. Notre Dame gets its first victory of the 2022 season and its first victory under Fighting Irish head coach Marcus Freeman. Mike Singer here with Tim Hyde from Blue and Gold, and we have I've got like an article worth of notes to go through to talk about Notre Dame's thrilling 24-17 victory over Cal. Tim, the coach in you has to be saying, bat it down. Oh my gosh. I didn't even see the targeting on the interception. I went into my office to get this live show set up. So I don't even, Tim, you'll have to fill me in on what happened there. But wow, folks, please, if you are with us live, if you are watching back, whatever the case is, hit the thumbs up on this YouTube video. If you're watching us, subscribe to our channel for more content, of course. And if you are live, drop a super chat. Or if you're watching back, you can give us super thanks as well if you just want to support what we're doing here at Blue and Gold. And if you're listening back via podcast, as always, we always would encourage you to join us on these YouTube live shows. Get in the YouTube experience, but we still want to provide this content for you as well if you're not able to join us live. So yeah, drop a super chat if you want your questions answered right away. But Tim, I'll give you the floor to start here. Notre Dame 24, Cal 17.
Well, I did predict 24-16, so I'll give myself a pat on the back for that one. So how's that? But man, exactly. My buddy's texting me, hey, they covered. I'm like, no, I want 24-16. But anyway, congrats to Notre Dame. Exhausting. That was an exhausting 4 quarters of football to watch because the early part with Pine was just like, it looked like JV football. And then Notre Dame got themselves rolling. The O-line started to run block against Cal's strength, which is that front 7 stopping the run. And, Notre Dame changed up some scheme things and they started just running a ton more straight ahead blocking on the inside zone instead of getting away from the duo, which, became famous last year with all the double teams, the back reading. Today was go straight ahead, Tyree, Estime, and go downhill. And that's what they did. So, we'll talk Pine. I haven't seen any stats, any numbers. So
there you go.
What
there
the heck? What? Yeah, there you
go. You got your contacts in, Tim? Can you see?
Yeah, I got my Yeah, look at that. You got Estime and Tyree. What did Tyree? That was been the biggest complaint through 2 games is how is your senior top 100 national recruit not touching the ball? And he looked like a guy that they were going to feature today, which was awesome to see. And Estime, physical football that young man attacks with. But big win for Notre Dame. It didn't matter if it was 3-2, as we talked about the other day. It was they got that first one. It was a dogfight. And I think Mike and everyone here in the chat room and watching this later, we're going to see a lot of these games this year. So let's get ready for a bunch of these 4-quarter dogfights.
I think if it ends up in a Notre Dame win, I think you're happy. You want to just get right into talking about Drew Pine?
Yeah, let's do it. Drew Pine, the offensive line, they're huge improvement. Let's go right into Pine.
I want to set the tone on this Pine discussion. So
sure.
For YouTube audience, let's take a look at this. 17 of 23 for you math people out there. What's the percentage on that? 17 divided by 23 is 74%. 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. Now, it says 74% on the screen. I'm an idiot. 157 quarterback rating.
There you go.
All right, let's now pull up this passing chart. 3 for 8. And then after that goes, what is that, like 14 of 15?
Yeah, 14, 15.
So, what do you want from the guy? He's a limited football player. Yes. We don't believe he's Trevor Lawrence back there or, he's a low ceiling player.
Yes.
But like Gary's comment here, Pine is terrible. He's a lot better than your spelling. Notre Dame still might be in trouble, but I don't know, Tim. He struggled, and we'll get to the drive
Sure.
chart next, which I think kind of correlates with
The
these passing
struggles.
stats.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, for as bad as that start was, he was equally as consistent, and I think he played pretty good football there in the second half.
Oh yeah. I mean, obviously efficient. The big thing. Yeah, I mean, the early starts, you have, a couple of the drops, him throwing into the foot of a guy. I mean, was it Styles early on? I have to pull out the notes here. I'm watching this game so fast it felt like today. And Styles would have had a catch for a first down. You get the one mojo with Lindsey jumping off sides on a QB sneak, which killed the drive. Yeah, Pine struggled early. He's probably, it's going down his leg, right? He was a little nervous. And once he settled in, he got comfortable and was efficient. Now, one thing is you can't throw. Maybe you can. We're going to find out a heck of a lot more this year. But Pine's got to be able to. Notre Dame's got to have to throw the ball more than 10 yards down the field. They did not do that today, nor did they really ask him because you had a lot of the naked boots, the dumps, which
Hey Tim, who you throwing long to? Who you throwing long to?
Oh, I agree.
Oh,
Nobody.
I mean, the YouTube audience is
Nobody.
like,
But you're going to have to get on the road.
Past 10 yards. Who you want to throw to Braden Lenzy, who's shown he just drops those, or who else are you going to throw him deep to?
I agree.
No
the
one
wide receivers
is getting open.
No, I agree. The wide receivers have had 3 games, and when they do get open, Buckner overthrew them today. I think they tried early, and Cal plays a big time brand of old school cover 3 on a lot of their third and longs and whatnot, and they just weren't going to let him get beat deep. What Pine did was take what they gave him, which was a lot of short underthrows. They actually threw the tailback screen a heck of a lot more than they have in 2 games combined today, which worked out nice. So, no deep ball. I mean, the deep ball was the Estime little dump pass, which was the same play opposite the right and the left that they did in the Fiesta Bowl to Chris Tyree, which was a great one. So, what was Mayor's stats? Pull those up real quick. It seemed like he only caught a couple balls.
Yeah, 2 for 10 on.
Yeah, 2 for 10. He got the big touchdown. But yeah, I mean, they didn't really go to him much. So I'm looking forward to rewatching that, seeing if they just doubled the living heck out of him. But no, I mean, you're right, Mike. There is no deep passing attack. Their best passing attack is a quick throw to Styles, turn it up and get yards. And to Tyree, Lindsey, Thomas, I think Wilkins I saw started the game. I didn't see him much out there, but I know Merriweather played some. That was probably just to go get his feet wet and have some fun, wear a green jersey. They never attempted to him, but no, you're right. They've gotten blanketed in 3 games, so there is no deep passing attack, but they got to play action. They got to take some shots somewhere, which is going to happen. But the win today, what Pine did after that, I mean, seriously, come on. After that first quarter, we're like, holy moly, is Angeli warming up after 5 days of finally practicing with the varsity being scout team for the last month. But it was good. It was a good, efficient win. And he did get better as we were texting, me, you, and Goolsby. He got better as the game wore on, got more comfortable, and delivered some nice passes, some really nice quick hitch passes for first downs.
Yeah, again, Tim and I aren't saying he's, he's
not Trevor Lawrence,
Joe Namath out there, but yes. I mean, he when he got comfortable, Notre Dame offense was clicking. Tim, yes. The rushing attack. So when we have done our YouTube videos this week, our such a key to this game was Notre Dame needs to simplify the offense, rely on your big boys up front, feed Estime, feed Tyree, make things simple for Drew Pine. And once those nerves and whatever the heck was going on, and it wasn't just Pine.
Yeah.
False starts, Styles dropping the ball. I mean, Fisher. They really got into a rhythm. And running the ball, let's pull back up the stats. You got Chris Tyree, 17 carries and 5 receptions. Also got him involved. I see a couple super chats coming in. We'll get to those. You get him the ball more than 20 times, not including special teams, and Estime toe to the rock 18 times.
And there's the 40+ carries, right? When, in the big games, today's unranked. So it's a big game for Notre Dame when you're playing unranked versus unranked, but they got the 40 carries. And in the past, when Notre Dame gets those 40 carries, that has always been key for them in winning games over the Kelly years. So they hit that number today. And you know what? Throw in the scrambles by Pine. Those were passes outside of one zone keep. So I would give him 5 scrambles. I believe he only kept it the one time on the zone read where he got stuffed. The other 5 were scrambles. The O-line was blocking its tails off today. And that was the secondary just blanketing Notre Dame. And he took off, scrambled, got a couple first downs today on run. So very impressive there. But Pine, yeah, he is what he is, right? And Reese even said that in the press conference on Tuesday or Wednesday after the practice. Like, we know what he is. We're not going to tell you, but we know what we get with him. We know what we're good at. And I think we saw a lot of that today, and it's going to keep going. One of my keys, I know I talked about early in the week, was I think on a Wednesday live show, was motions. Reese had, I bet you, I go back and chart. I haven't added them up yet. Easily a half or more of every formation had some form of a motion in there. There was a shift coming back, a lot of moving mirrors sometimes, a lot of back shifting out, because that's checking the coverage. So what he saw. So really good job by Tommy Reese and Drew Pine's first start of opening the playbook up and expanding the field so Pine could see what he had to do. And I think going back to Freeman's style is, this may frustrate people, but, he is born and raised under Tressel, and his goal is to kill the clock, move the chains, and they did that a heck of a lot today.
All right, go to quickly, Tim, do some super chats. Definitely appreciate these. Milton fan says, certainly glass half empty approach her comments here. Thought Tommy Reese, Marcus Freeman would have better demeanor and talk to players differently than Brian Kelly. I don't think this is a Reese Freeman Kelly thing. This is just coaches. Coaches yell. Tim Hyde, you're a nice guy. Do you ever yell at your players?
Yeah. Well, the one I'm sure this gentleman's talking about, Milton's talking about, could be when Reese is on the phone, because I think he was trying to wake up Drew Pine. Like, dude, you're in a football game. Quit throwing at people's ankles. Quit being so damn scared. Going back to this first sack, I'm sure everyone's going to blame the O-line. Notre Dame was in empty personnel. The front 5 is assigned to block 5 guys. Cal zone dropped to DN. The Will Backer pop. That guy who sacked Drew Pine was Drew Pine's guy. I went back and rewatched that thing 3 times. Carell, Lugg, and Blake are blocking those 3 while you have Patterson and Alt blocking the next 2. The guy who blitzed was Drew Pines. And I bet you Reese was getting on him for that. Another throw, I think, on a third down there where they had to punt, where you could read Reese's words were, dude, the guy in the flat was open, hit him. So I think that was a wake-up call. And if Freeman gets frustrated, damn right. The guy's trying to win a football game, and Notre Dame is doing stupid things at stupid times. Speaking of that, as fall starts, I mean, come on, back-to-back fall starts by your captain at left guard and your 4th-year senior at center. I mean, so people may complain about that, but what are you supposed to do, Mike, on 3rd and 19, right? Run the ball, which they did, played field position, and their team MVP has been John Sott, who's just been nails this year. So,
okay, a couple more super chats.
Sure.
A win, but this looks like a 1-11 season. Russ gave us 7 points. Cal went off sides, right? I mean, that was the call. Disappointed in JD and the targeting. And then he also says, definitely feels like a loss. Hope they get better soon, especially the O-line. It could have been a loss. I mean, Tim, we talk all the time about expectations, right?
Yes.
We expected Notre Dame to win a close, gritty, low-scoring battle.
Yes.
And it's what happened. And Drew Pine played after that first quarter, I should say. He was kind of the second.
Yeah, so the
played
first
up to his upper potential. I don't know. I'm feeling better. It's a win.
Yes.
So I don't know.
No, I virtual high five. I agree. It's this team is not going to go to New Year's 6. This team's not going to the playoffs. This is a team that's going to battle a lot. What we saw today, and they're going to grit out some wins in the fourth quarter, which they had not done the first 2 games. This is the 3rd straight game Notre Dame's had the lead late in the game. So it's like they're right there. And they didn't give up a 90-yard drive, at the end of the game, as they've done in the first 2 games. So they're playing Cal, which, I know people are like, oh, it's Cal, it's soft and middle of the road. They got some dudes on D. They play real physical football. I thought Plummer played his tails off. What do you have, 4 or 5 runs? The announcer said of over 10 yards on scrambles.
Yeah.
So Cal's got some dudes. That tailback is a dude. And they had a couple wide receivers. I mean, there's one wide receiver who owned Cam Hart all game. So Cal had some really nice football players. And Justin Wilcox, as we said in our Friday show, what is he, 70% against the spread when double-digit favorites? He did it again today. The guy coaches his tail off. I mean, he was offered the Oregon job, if people don't know that. So he turned it down. And that's his alma mater. He wanted to stay at Cal and keep building this program. So they got some guys, Mike. They won the game. They're not going 1-11. I think we need to be happy and just take a deep sigh, relax, and enjoy the victory. We're not getting ready for Alabama January 1st, so let's don't even – who cares? They won the damn football game.
A struggling UNC is not good. They're 3-0. They've given up more than like 27 points to 3 group of 5 opponents. So a Notre Dame offense that struggled early, but then, put up 24 points in 3 quarters. I mean, it's something. That's more points than they had scored. What was it?
And they got ultra conservative those last 2 drives. They just wanted to run clock. They trusted their front 4. They trusted their front 4 at the last 2 drives.
What was the Marshall score, Tim? I'm having what was the score last week?
Oh, my God. 26, 21, 22, whatever it was after they got
24 points in this game. They had 31 before, so whatever, 21 points. So I'll take it. But yes, Jack, win is a win. Fighting Irish comment. This is not the official Fighting Irish account.
Let's enjoy the win.
Let's enjoy the win. But the boys trying to catch the ball in the end zone on the last play screams bad coaching. I don't know if, when that play happens and he's going up for the ball, he's thinking what the coaching was. Your instincts say, I want this pick.
Yeah.
There's no one around me. You just can't do that. You have to bat down the ball. But hey, it's
that's why they call it a Hail Mary, right? I mean, hey, there's been some crazy Hail Marys and that we've all seen. And at the end of the day, it hit the ground and it's a win. It's a win. Yeah. It's a big win. I mean, the game's over. Bertrand doesn't get the late hit. You didn't see it, as you said, Mike. Cam Lewis got the interception and the guy was going up and Bertrand cold cocks him over the middle before the interception. Okay. So
who picked it off? Was Cam Hart?
Lewis. Okay. Clarence Lewis, excuse me.
Called him Cam Lewis. I was like, I didn't know that. Listen, when Tim and I are watching the game, we're taking notes. We're talking. We're trying to think of this just from this analyst point of view and try to move emotion from it as much as we can. It's very difficult. So I don't know. I'm honestly a little surprised. I thought Notre Dame fans you guys were going to come in here and be a little bit more joyful. I don't know if this is more of a vocal minority or what, but I mean, I want to pull up the drive chart. All right. Oh, wrong button.
As you're doing that, one of my big key stats is run game efficiency. So Notre Dame was almost 60% today on run game efficiency, which is damn good football. Really good football running the ball.
Yeah. All right. So Gary says satisfied with mediocrity. That separates from the elite.
Well, we're not there this year.
Notre Dame's not elite program right now. I mean,
not this year.
So win is win, dude. I mean, I don't know what you want.
After last, believe me, I'm a huge ND fan. I want them to win a national title as bad as everyone chatting in here tonight. After last week's game, it's all about building something, getting Freeman going, getting him a win, playing football. I mean, my God, they played their second quarterback in 3 games. So, and they're not great. These aren't great quarterbacks the top 10 in the country would beg to have right now. So it is what it is. And after last week, I mean, they lost to Marshall people. So after last week, it's about regrouping. It's about getting some confidence. It's about, believing in themselves. And I think they played that way after that early part of the game. There's a lot of pressure on them. You're going to talk to, Mr. Goolsby tomorrow night. There's a lot of pressure at Notre Dame, and Notre Dame has high expectations, and it's not accepted mediocrity whatsoever.
Yeah.
I don't think I do. I don't think any Notre Dame fan that does. Goolsby was a team captain. I know damn well he doesn't accept it, but you are where you're at right now. So you got to regroup. And where are you going these next 10 games, which right now they're 1-0 in the next 10 games. So we're going to have a lot of games like this year. It's going to be a struggle. It is, because there's no dominant wide receivers at all. As bad as we thought it was going to be, it might be worse this year than we thought. And it really is bad outside. So it's going to be dinking and dunking, motions, hitting crossers. Styles caught the crosser and had a big run. He would have had that in the first drive of the game, catch it and go for 40. So Notre Dame has done a lot of good things. They haven't made damn plays, and they made some big plays today.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I want to go to the drive chart now, which I find fascinating to look at how the offense improves. So on this right side, now it's in the center here. Look, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. Fumble after 2 plays. Disastrous start. I mean, those first 5 drives were putrid.
It was JV football. It was horrible.
Touchdown, 10-play drive. Punt. Hey, at least you got a first down on the next drive.
Yeah.
Touchdown, 9 plays, 60 yards. Field goal, 10 plays, 46 yards. Touchdown to go ahead 24-17.
Yep.
And then the last couple drives there.
Killing clock.
Clock.
That's what they wanted to do. Make Coach Wilcox burn his timeouts, which he did.
That the second half Notre Dame offense, or
after that fumble, they rallied.
They rallied. That team, this team beats Marshall no problem.
Yes.
So that's why I'm optimistic right now, is because of what they showed. We talked about it the first 2 games. The offense has no identity. The offense now, Tim, has an identity. Don't make your quarterback be the truck, because he's not.
He's not. And
you know who is the truck? Michael Mayer. Get Michael Mayer the ball. We didn't see him a ton, but I'm guessing when you go back and rewatched him, I'm going to guess that they tried to just take him out of the game.
Yeah.
Estime.
Especially on the scrambles.
Tyree.
I think those scrambles, they took out Mayer. But
yeah.
No, I was going to say, I'm sorry, Mike, is no, you got me excited, because I think the truck today became, after that mess of a start, was the O-line. I mean, the blocking schemes and the run game, completely different than they'd done in the first 2 games. Some of the same plays, but the way they just started mashing people, and they were doing more true inside scoop, right, left. Everyone's stepping right, everyone's stepping left together. We call it cut, where the tight end goes backside opposite the. So if they're going right, tight end goes left. They did that a lot today, which really helped in the run game, take away some of that backside end pressure. I thought they really rallied today. I really do. For as bad as the start was, man, they were down again today, right? But I mean, Cal scored. The game's like a blur sometimes, but they rallied, man. They rallied. This game could have just went to the pile if Cal scores and they're up 14-0, the mojo and the feeling sorry for themselves. They did not do that. And just quick 10 seconds, who's been the team, who's been the group? I'm not going to say it because I don't want to jinx it, but there's one group up front on the defense that took this thing over at times today for the first time since last November. So it's been a while.
Yeah. Tim, what did you make of the game Tommy Rees called today?
Smart. And I think that's why we saw him cussing out and going nuts on the phone, because he had a plan. He wanted to manage this thing, and Pine wasn't delivering the ball correctly. So I thought he did great, because number one, he used motions. He motioned the heck out of them. The protections were good. This Cal front seven, when you go and read the preseason mags and the preseason stuff and start getting ready, it's only 2 games in. And, I went back and was reading some of the stuff from the beat writers from out there. They love their defense. They love their front seven. They love their corners. They got some big, tall, athletic dudes out there. So they think they're going to be one of the best defenses in the Pac-12 this year, and they probably will be. and Notre Dame took it to him at times and smashed him down the field on some of those drives. So I thought Reese did really good. And I think going back to your point, Mike, he was not gonna let Pine, read multiple pass plays and throw a pick and put the defense in a bind. And he just took that out of the equation. It was like, we're going to win this game with our big dudes, and defense go win the damn football game for us. And that's what they did.
Yeah, Milton fan. Another super chat says frustrated because no cohesion equals coaching.
I don't think cohesion. I thought once again, you got to take out. This is not the number five team in the country, right? So let's just take that away. Let's take away all preseason things, magazines, hype, polls. Take all that away. As far as cohesion goes, I'm going to say I thought it was outstanding because these guys worked together. You could tell as the game was going on. All right, I trust my defense. I trust these guys. You could tell the way they were calling the game that they were starting to trust each other, and I thought cohesion was pretty damn good.
All right, and another super chat. I'll take a win. Yep, have issues, but
yes.
It's a win. I don't know.
There's a lot of issues. Cal had some nice runs today on their one big touchdown drive. Where did I chart it right here in the second half? They were 6 of 8 on run game efficiency, chewing up outside. Notre Dame in outside zone is like kryptonite since the Oklahoma State game last year. Horrible. Henderson killed them in Ohio State. Horrible on the edges last week. So today in that drive, 6 of 8 run game efficiency. And whatnot. So they just got to tighten up a few things. There's issues all over the place. But
all right,
you got to beat North Carolina, right, Mike? And then we get ready for a bye in BYU.
So just looking through my notes here, Tim.
Sure.
Cal really dropped the ball on this, though. Whether or not, I mean, people don't think it was an offsides, whatever it may be.
Sure.
Offsides was called. Notre Dame was down 7-0 at that point.
Yes.
Blake Ruby misses the field goal. Luck of the Irish, Pine to Tyree, 7-7.
Yep.
Cal should have been up, though. And then they missed a field goal. Could have been up 10-0. Is that right? They were 7-0, and then they missed the field goal.
Yeah.
And then there was that targeting call.
Yeah, no good.
That put Notre Dame from an incomplete pass to the 14, touchdown to Irish, 14-10. So, I mean, you're looking at what? 17 points right there, just based on their mistakes. So, glass half empty here, Tim.
Sure.
Cal really gave this thing away. So while we're mostly looking at this from a glass half full perspective, I mean, Cal really screwed the pooch here. I mean, go ahead, Tim.
No, I was going to say, speaking of that, hey, I've coached a lot of football games, and I've watched a heck of a lot of Notre Dame games. I'm a firm believer over 60 minutes, things balance out. So okay. Cal misses a field goal, right? But the drive continues because one of our favorite football players, Houston Griffith, falls down on man coverage on third down. So he falls down on third down. Cal gets the first down. They continue the drive. So if Houston Griffith doesn't fall down, which is still haven't seen that guy make a play in 5 years. Who knows if that drive, right? So I'm just, things even out over time, I truly believe sometimes. But I hear what you're saying, Mike. It's a luck of the Irish, but they also created some of their luck after those plays by finishing drives, which is awesome.
Okay, another super chat. Tom Reese called a good game today, but outside run, it did run up the gut a lot, but I mean, Estime seemed to get 3-4 yards every single time he touched the ball.
That's going before the end of the game, because they were going 13 personnel. I mean, they had the walk-on Sherwood out there at fullback. They were going 13 personnel. Before that, they were mid-60s as far as run game personnel, because the way they were running their inside zone and the way they were blocking it. They're almost going foot to foot, just scooping dudes up. It was completely different than the first 2 games, which was awesome to watch.
How about this, Tim? Look at Estime's runs here. None for a loss. I mean, just that's big to never go backwards. Estime, he was in a groove. I think that the combination of lightning Thunder. Between him and Tyree was very good. Tyree was running the ball well. No Logan Diggs, though, and I believe he was healthy. Did you find that interesting that he wasn't in there?
I hate to be negative Nancy, but I was okay with that because I thought he's been average in these 2 games. I just do. I think he's played slow. I think he's played soft. He's had one run of 7 yards. Talking about Diggs. So I was okay with that. I'm not. Hey, after 2 games, I think one of the things I know the media and listening to Freeman's press conference started to pick up on is, why are you playing all these dudes? Do you really need to play 3 running backs? Did you need to play Aaronsberger, a 3rd string DN in the 4th quarter against Marshall? They didn't do that today. So over the first 2 games, it just felt like they were just trying to make everyone happy. It was a love fest. Everyone gets some playing time. Today, Notre Dame was like, no, we're going to go with our main dudes. We're going to play those dudes. They did it on defense. They didn't rotate a ton. They kept their same core together, and it was nice to see. Going back to, if you're a coach and you're the strength coach and even as a player, if you're earned the starting job or if you're the 3rd D tackle, then those are the guys you're playing. You don't need to play 3rd string guys out there in the 4th quarter. Notre Dame didn't do that today, and I think a little bit that was the running game, as you and I have talked, where Freeman's talking about 3 different packages. It seemed like today was one package. Tyree was doing what Estime was doing, and that was nice to see. And Diggs has kind of been a tiptoeer where Estime changed up. They're not running the pause step that Tyree and Diggs, Diggs does that a ton. Estime's going straight downhill, and it was just awesome to watch. And that old saying, man, you just keep going with your bell cow, and that's what they did with the 2 big guys.
Well, it looks like Diggs was out. A couple comments saying that he was sick this week, but I think Diggs is healthy. I think you had a really good 1-2 combination. I'm not sure if
with Diggs and Estime.
I'm sorry, Tyree and Estime. I don't know what I said. You have a really good 1-2 punch with Tyree and Estime. I don't know where. Depth is great, but not at the to hurt yourself because you're playing too many guys. Like you don't want to rest somebody if they don't need rest. Play your guys.
I mean, the stats prove it today, Mike. What is it? 18, 17 carries. For the big 2.
Yep.
And Tyree has never been the most physical guy, right? He's always had that little
career high for him, 17 carries.
He's always been that. Well, he's always gotten that. He's a speed guy. Mantra about him. He ran hard today. I mean, he did. He took it to a different level, and I think those guys in that locker room are going to feel that. Mike will talk about this tomorrow night. Mike Goolsby about that feeling that, and in that locker room and how momentum builds, and it's huge. It's huge. I think those guys are going to feed off this. They know they got to go on the road. They've had 2 back-to-back home games where it just feels like the weight of the world's been on them. Now they get to regroup. Next week's their Super Bowl because you got a week off. So they need to sell out this week and go beat North Carolina on the road.
All right, folks, please do hit the thumbs up, subscribe to our YouTube channel if you have not done so yet, and drop super chat if you want any comments or question addressed here. Annie Davis says, Reese screaming murder at Pine is what Drew offers. He can take the heat, and team responded. Don't think Reese would take the same approach with Tyler. It's kind of actually a good thought. I don't know if Reese would yell at Buckner like that, or at least we haven't seen that on TV yet, if that has happened. But Pine's a tough kid. I mean, he took some hits, gets right back up, gets yelled at by his coaches, and he did respond. I mean, think about in life, all of us, when you get yelled at, how do you respond? You say, screw this, this isn't my fault. This guy had a false start. This guy dropped the pass. Screw this, screw you guys. I'm going to the locker room. Or do you say, all right, I'm going to respond in a positive way? And that's what he did. So kudos to him.
No, it's, as a coach, it's great to see because, you want guys to take ownership of the situation where you're at that moment in the game. And he did. He rallied up. And I thought a lot of players did. It just felt like, it's going back to that, that penalty they got, with after the missed kick. It just felt like they started to get some mojo. back. And but hey, also kudos to Cal for coming back and just battling their butt off and making this a game. Coach Wilcox does a hell of a job. He really does. So, I've heard him speak at some clinics out in California a handful of times, and he's not where he's at without knowing some football. He knows some ball. He's a damn good football coach.
Yeah. What'd you think about the offensive line this week?
Pass pro. I mean, seriously, pass pro is out. I mean, my gosh, how many times did they show it on the replay? Just a wall, the 5 guys just sitting there building a wall.
Did they rush 3 a lot though?
Some 3, 4, some 5. Cal mixes up a ton, bunch of zone, they zone dropped a handful and whatnot, but they gave them protection. They gave them protection outside of that one early sack, which me personally, in rewatching it, would say that's on Pine, because that's an empty protection. You can't block all of them. The linemen are going to account for guys, and you slide one way or the other, and the quarterback's got to account for that. But I thought they played their tails off. I mean, it's obviously their best football game. This defensive front 7 was really, really good. Had this game been played last week after the Ohio State game, Cal probably wins that game, right? So, if you're looking at a little hangover type game last week, and I thought Cal played their tails off. I really do.
I think these 4 words just sum up the entire. It's not great, but good. I
got you, Jacob.
Not a great performance by any stretch, but it was good. Disaster start for the offense.
Yeah.
It was really nice to see that defensive line. Tim talked about the defensive line. Oh, defensive line to win this game. And then what did Tim say? I'm going to stop talking about them. And guess what Tim did? He stopped talking about them. And what did the Notre Dame defensive line do? They showed up 6 sacks.
What was the third down, Mike's? Well, get to the team stuff, the third down ones. That was one of my keys, because going into this game was Notre Dame was 101st and third down.
4 for 15. Notre Dame 3 of 12.
Well, they're bad. I mean, they've been bad. I mean, they're in their stats are going to go down at 3 for 12. But for defense, because they were 101st coming into this game, and it showed. They had some big plays, and I think 2 of those 4 were scrambles. Hopefully I didn't break a window, but the wife, it was like, quarterback just scrambling with Coach Golden playing 2-man, which I said is great in the NFL, but not in college football. If a quarterback could run, don't call it. But the D-line played his tail off with Lacey, Adamiola, 2 big sacks and a tackle for loss today. Lacey had some big stuffs. Foskey missed a sack, and then obviously rallies and gets one at the end. Riley Mills, by the way, his stats are probably nil, but I swear that guy gets 5 holding calls a game that the refs don't call. He is bull rushing and mauling offensive lines. I bet you that guy has a New Jersey every week. It is getting shredded. He doesn't have the greatest moves and whatnot, but he is going to bull rush an offensive lineman into the backfield. So he's going to get some holding calls one of these darn days.
For the Notre Dame linebackers, I will say that for Goolsby tomorrow.
Sure.
But you can touch on them quickly, Tim. But Jack Plummer, 16 of 37. The Notre Dame defensive backfield, you have to – it's the same cast of characters other than, Morrison and Mickey, who have come in and played a good bit of snaps. Saw Morrison a good bit today. But they seem to have improved, heard the criticism, and stepped up. I mean, Plummer – under 200 yards. This is a veteran 5th-year guy, and under 50% completion percentage at 43.
No, it goes to the D line for some great throws, some hurry throws. I mean, a handful of throws he just threw out of bounds or was just getting rid of because of the pressure. Also the coverage. That's why I'm looking forward to going back and seeing some of the coverage, how much Notre Dame played zone man. Plummer got a couple nice first downs against man. Hart got picked on a couple times. Their one touchdown play basically slipped, and out of the break on that guy who, the touchdown was a boop pass, I believe. So that was frustrating. But no, the Plummer, a guy who's played in a ton of football games under 200 yards, that was nice. It's not a Cal strength, but Cal had a couple nice wide receivers. A couple of those dudes can run some routes. So. But the D-line, it goes back to the D-line just taking over the game in some stints.
All right, got the scoring plays pulled up there. Again, 24-17 win for the Irish, a tight one, but one for an 0-2 team. I mean, this is not the number 5 team in the country
No,
coming into the season like the media thought. It's not a great Notre Dame football team. Notre Dame's going to have to scrap together and put out some wins. Yeah, Notre Dame going to win a national championship. It ain't this year, folks. It is just not this year.
and I think we could sit and talk till we're blue in the face. It's, and I'm sure it's perimeter play until Notre Dame gets some dudes on the outside that could win matchups, and the corner is fearful of you, and you can run 10-yard stop routes because that dude is bailing because he's fearful he's going to give up a 50-yard fade. They don't have those guys right now. They don't. And that's what great offenses are. When you watch the Buckeyes and Bamas and these guys that have great receivers, it's not all verts. It's the threat of the vert. How many times do we see a damn slant take off or a 10-yard out route? That's where guys are good on the perimeter, because it's put the fear of God in the DBs, and no one is fearful of Notre Dame's wide receivers through 3 games. Even today on a couple of the early runs where they got stuffed, I'm sitting there counting the numbers. Well, the O-line I thought was blocking their tail off early in the game when it looked like they were getting stuffed. It's always the 8th guy in the box, unblocked, can't account for him, solo tackle. It's the same darn thing. And that's when the play action, which Reese comes back to, people may criticize him, the misdirections. They ran a lot of counters, a lot of wide counters. Guard in the tight end, Mike Mayer, who I thought blocked his butt off today. Just watching it live, he was action a ton today, and a lot of counters, which leads to the boots that they were running, which worked effectively.
Okay. I think Ethan, this is a really interesting question. Ethan, I think you're new here. It's an interesting one. Why do the stats never line up with how bad the game actually looked? Tim, my answer to that is it's emotion.
Yo, God, yeah.
You see the bad start and you're like, that's it. Pine sucks.
Yeah.
That's it. I've made my mind up. He's bad. That's it. The game's over. I don't care if we've won. I've decided that this is a loss. And then he bounced back. Wasn't like fantastic or anything. And he wasn't a world beater out there, but someone like Drew Pine, for him, he lived up to his potential after the bad first quarter.
Yeah, I mean, I know in our chat, I was just like, they don't trust. It's not so much, and I said that they don't trust Pine, but I think at the same time they're just like, it's our game plan. Let's don't put it on him. It is the first start. It's 3rd and 5. We don't trust him. Throw a quick little screen in the boundary to Tyree. Kill 45 more seconds. Put the damn football. Which is frustrating watching, because you're like, you tell me you can't run a 5-yard outright to Mike Mayer. So that, things of that nature. So it was a frustrating a couple times where you felt like they didn't trust him, but at the same time, they're like, let's don't force it on him. Let's get through this win by any means necessary, which they did. And now let's regroup. And I think we're going to see that from this football team moving forward. This is not 2007. This is a much better football team than 2007, 2016, those horrendous years. We're not going to. If we see this team go 5-7, there's just a meltdown somewhere. I think this team is going to live up to. I don't want to say live up to. They're not going to go 10-2, but I think the seniors, there's a lot of older dudes, and they made a lot of plays in that 4th quarter today, are just going to keep regrouping, and that's why this win was so damn important today, no matter what the score was.
Ethan, appreciate you joining us after being a long-time lurker. This is an interesting comment. R. Riley says, I feel Notre Dame has gone 5 steps backward from reaching a title. One, after the Marshall lost last week, Tim, after the Ohio State game, you're talking 11-1, right? So after they lose to Marshall, my mind is not thinking anything close to Notre Dame being I am not even thinking national championship. I mean, just so that's just me. I'm like, there's no point talking about Notre Dame in national title because it's just so far off.
Yes.
But I will say each season is very different. Notre Dame gets a transfer quarterback who, for next season, let's say, we're talking about a completely different football team. What was the record for Notre Dame after 2016? 4-8 was abysmal. I don't know if Notre Dame's going to go 4-8 this year. It's not going to be a great record. 2017 was a completely different team. So, you get some transfers in, your recruits under Marcus Freeman get a year older. The change from one game to the next can be a good jump, let alone one season to the next. So I'm not sure that Notre Dame is 5 steps backwards from national title, because next year it's a new year when you bring in new players, you get development, and you saw it after that 2016 season.
Yes, and every game's a new world. Every season's a completely different world. But it's the perimeter play, and I think even this year, and it's not the excuse making. And when you hear Freeman talk, you're like, oh, don't make excuses. But he ain't lying. Thomas was a redshirt last year. Lorenzo Styles did not play until Wilkins or whatever got injured, right? He didn't play until that second half is when he started to get in there. Lindsey is who he is. Wilkins was there today a little bit. Notre Dame does not have great upperclassmen. So next year, if we're going to talk just real quick, 30 seconds on that, is you're going to have Styles is going to be a junior who's going to play a ton this year, correct? Thomas hasn't done much, but he's getting reps. Is Holsey going to wake up and be a guy? Merriweather touched the field today. He knows what turf feels like at Notre Dame. So he's okay. He's going to keep – I fully expect to see him more and more each game. Eli Reardon was in there a ton today, by the way. I don't know, a ton, maybe 6, 7, 8 snaps, but for a freshman, that's good. He was out there at a couple key moments. So some of these dudes are going to start developing. And then as you've talked about those freshmen coming in, the wide receiver group, Mike, they're all early enrollees. The best thing for Notre Dame in 2023 are wide receivers are going to be early enrollees to learn everything under the sun, because all those dudes are playing next year.
Yep. ND Nation, which is very interesting spelling there. It took me a minute to figure that out. I do appreciate another super chat. Oh, man, where else to go?
Someone says play freshman receivers. There's only one. Okay? There's only one, people. Hey, I'm with you too. Play freshman. There's only one, and he got in today. There's only one. Let's don't forget the depth. They're playing a walk-on out there, okay? Because they have to.
Still. Void Walker says, I think boneheaded defensive penalties kept Cal in the game.
Evens out. I said that, right? We could talk about the Cal penalties that they had. Some boneheaded plays, without a doubt. But I think both head coaches are going to be one celebrating and one's going to be kicking himself because of some boneheaded plays. So that's what happens over 60 minutes of a hard, physical fought football game today.
Yep. Thank you for the super chat, Void Walker. Tim, what was the problem for Notre Dame not being able to contain Michael Vick today? Like, what was it? I was writing notes down. I'm like, goodness gracious. The announcing crew said 4 scrambles, 10 plus yards. I'm like, what is going on with this defensive line? And then they pin their ears back and get like 5 sacks and, in the fourth quarter or whatever it was. But did they, I don't know.
Garrett said it perfect, playing 2-man. And, in the NFL, you see a lot of 2-man. Why? Your favorite football team, Mike, the Miami Dolphins, they had a young man named Dan Marino. That dude ain't scrambling. You can play 2-man all day against Dan Marino. He's not scrambling. In the college game, dudes are going to scramble. So when you go 2-man, everyone's playing man. So that means the Mike Backer's got the tailback. All right. The Mike Backer's got the tailback. They were releasing the tailback, or the Mike has to spy the tailback for screen. He's the screen player. Quarterback scrambles. It was the edge. They got outside edge. The screenshot I sent you guys with Maris Leofeld going under a block. You got to know quarterback scramble, man. You go beeline, outside shoulder, go right through that blocker, force the quarterback to cut back in. They didn't. That was one huge scramble, it's frustrating. It's frustrating. That's why fans who watch NFL, you rarely see that. Once in a blue, Josh Allen scrambles. But as Josh Allen gets older, that dude ain't scrambling, I guarantee you. In a college game, it scrambles. That's what won Johnny Manziel a damn Heisman, scrambling.
Yeah. Tim, I always get on here and say, a lot of times my takes are not the they don't tickle the Notre Dame fans' ear, or don't align with what they think. Ohio State game, I was like, that was a really good performance by Notre Dame, and that wasn't good. Marshall, I think we're all on the same page. Cal, it looks like I should be calling for Freeman to be fired, but so I say that to preface with Mike's comment. Listening to Jason Garrett is a beating. I don't get it. I mean, I think he's fine. He's not that interesting, but he's a former NFL head coach, for the Dallas Cowboys. He didn't do great there, but I learned. I like Garrett. Is that bad? I learned from him.
The guy learned football from Jimmy Johnson, right? And he was, Troy Aikman's buddy there for ages. Probably didn't learn nothing from Switzer, but anyway. But
give me someone in there who has that big time credibility.
We don't. I mean, I'm spoiled. I mean, I am.
Eric says we need Coach Hyde in the booth. No, you don't.
No. I like sitting back, relaxing, sitting in Notre Dame chair, watching the ball game, and coming here chatting with you guys. But hey, I was spoiled. I grew up with John Madden when I was a young man, listening to Madden break things down and make an announcing unbelievable. Hey, you know what? You know what I'm gonna do, Mike? I'm gonna rewatch the game, and I'm just gonna focus on words. We're gonna do a 8-minute breakdown video on Tuesday of just Garrett's. I mean, we're not obviously, but hey, I'm watching. As I've said, I'm watching the game. I hear a few things every now and then. I'm watching football and trying to call some things and trying to break down and see what Reese and Golden are doing and wish Marcus Freeman on the. I thought he was going to lose it a few times today, especially at the end. It's like, man, am I ever going to win a damn football game? So, but it's not about Garrett. Let's focus on ND.
Yeah, Ethan, I don't like analytical commentators. I want someone to make the game fun. That's fine. I get that. But
he does break it. See, but sometimes the color guys, when it's 3rd and 5 and he sees a wide bunch in a short motion, whatever it is, he's going to always throw his 2 cents in because he's been in those shoes. He's been in those shoes, and he's trying to break down Freeman's thought process sometimes. So, I'm on the rewatch, I'm going to really focus on him, but I'm not throwing things against the wall saying you're an idiot, Garrett. I don't pay attention that much.
Yeah,
I'm a crowd guy. I have the TV on loud because I like crowd noise. That's what I listen for. It's crowd noise.
It's not even a thing for me. It's just
yeah.
Okay, a couple super chats. Definitely appreciate these. I didn't see a whole lot of improvement, but where do you think they took step forward?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Marshall's quarterback last week was fantastic. And we've had, comments like, I thought the Cal quarterback looked better than his numbers are. I thought the secondary was pretty good. The defensive line took a big step forward. The run game, Pine looked a lot better than he did at the end of last game. I don't know. What do you think, Tim?
First off, you just mentioned Cal's quarterback. What did Cal do last week? I felt Drew Pine was Marshall. I thought Drew Pine was Marshall's quarterback. What did Marshall do last week? Boots. Dumps. He didn't go vertical. He was quick game, the counter boots, dumping things and whatnot. That's what they had success for. And then they were feeding that big tailback, that guy who's been out of high school for 7-8 years, working at Walmart. They just got in the 5-star at Marshall and feeding him the rock. Huge. And there was a lot of improvements. Once again, watch these games going forward. Do not think about the August 20th rankings. Do not think a 2-5 matchup against Ohio State. I thought the O-line was outstanding. Outstanding. I mean, did they really only give up the 1 sack, Mike, when you're looking at the stats? That first one from Pine.
I see 2. I see 2 on the stats.
If it's 2, I thought it was more of a scramble sack or whatnot. I thought the O-line was –
You know what? It was – do you remember where he kind of rolled to his right and he should have just thrown it away? It was like a loss of 1.
I thought Michael Mayer – I'm going to rewatch in the rewatch. I'm looking forward to hearing what Goolsby says tomorrow night. It looked like Mayer played his tail off blocking. I'm looking forward to the rewatch to see if that's true. Defensive line defensive line played with their asses on fire. Excuse my French. They did. They played with their tails on fire today. It showed it. You saw the emotion when they got the TFLs, the pressures, and whatnot. Was there some steps back? Sure.
Yeah.
Clarence Lewis on a damn corner blitz. You could have knocked Plummer out of the game and you tagged him on the butt and ran by him.
Was bad.
That was bad. That's the worst football play outside of Pine Center's snap exchange where he just fumbles the ball. But speaking of that, I mean, Cal got a 30-yard field. Notre Dame is yet to get a darn turnover, right? They haven't got a turnover. They get one pick to win the game and Bertrand gets a penalty. So Notre Dame is negative in turnovers today and still win the game. So crazy.
Man. My wife is cooking dinner and it smells so good. So we're going to
chili.
I didn't really eat lunch. So
I'm with you.
I had a drive from Charlotte back. It was awful traffic. I didn't eat lunch today, but
speaking of that, how was Larson? How did Larson do? A quick 30 seconds.
It was good. They blew the team out. I actually did a video on it. So
okay, I haven't seen that yet. How do you look? How do you look physical?
Good. Yeah, he's a receiving tight end. 6'3",
nice.
215, 220, something like that. I think he's a solid player.
Yes, he is.
A couple more super chats. So yeah, we'll go as long as I don't know what's for dinner. We do HelloFresh. My wife has been very, very busy with work, and obviously I have been. So we haven't been grocery shopping. So she got HelloFresh, and so some kind of
that needs to be our sponsor because I have used them a ton. Unbelievable service,
So is RogueShop.com. Head there.
Yes,
you're going to need Rogue Shop for this Notre Dame football season. A couple more super chats. And again, we'll go as long as these keep filing in. Mike Sullivan says, let's celebrate Marcus Freeman's first win. Defensive line was bailed out by Lacey. We haven't mentioned his name yet. He was fantastic by the first half, and it seemed to click the second half. Yeah, so
he was an energizer buddy, man. He was teeing off.
5 tackles, 2 sacks. That was very good.
He had 2 sacks along with Adamiola. I know Adamiola got credited with 2, correct?
Yeah, so I've got Lacey 2, Foskey 1.5, Adamiola 1.5.
Oh, they gave him a half on that.
Jason 1.5 and Justin 1.5.
So they gave him a half. Okay, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I'm looking forward to going to the rewatch because it felt like the D line, some overthrows, some incompletes. Bracey had a nice bat down, a couple bat downs here and there. The linebackers were just, I'm curious because it didn't seem like they were like dominant. So I'm really curious to see how they do it in some of the rewatch because it felt like the D line was getting some great push. So I know we've talked because in the first 2 games with the linebackers, they've had to blitz to force those guys to fill. So looking forward to going and especially here in Goolsby's take tomorrow night on how they fill. Did they have to blitz? I didn't see as many crazy A gap, Mike Will twist stunts and blitzes and stuff like that today. If they popped, it looked like a lot more single blitzes today. Single pops, as I call them.
Okay, a few just regular chats I want to just cover real quick. Ugly one, but I'll take at this point. Jerseys are fine. I thought the jerseys were fantastic. I love them. Probably going to get hate for that, but that's okay.
I thought that shade of green, it looks fine. It looks fine.
Tony says that was a win, but it was ugly.
Good.
Dude, completely agree, Tony, but that's
good.
So that's just where Notre Dame's at this point. Like Matthew says, we're only beating by a touchdown. Like, oh gosh, like that's where they're at right now. So let's just put that in context and move forward. Like that's how I'm going to look at it. I'm not, Notre Dame's not winning a national championship this year. Maybe they don't next year. So that's it for me. I'm just going to that's just not me.
Yeah.
If you guys want that in your YouTube, that's just not going to be me and Tim. So we're not for you then. We can only tell you guys how it is in our perspective and our opinion. If we don't do that, then we're not true to ourselves. So we're just going to keep being
an ugly win. They won the damn game. Next week, North Carolina is like basketball and grass. So get ready, Notre Dame, to suck the air out of that ball next week. So the goal is to get wins this season for Marcus Freeman. Keep this recruiting class together, motivated. Go out and find another player or 2, as you're talking, Mike. So, that's what this season's going to be. It's 10-2 is not going to happen more than likely.
Yeah, Grim, that's where we don't have to be. I mean, it's just that it is right now, quarterback and receiver. I mean, Notre Dame needs that, and they just don't have trucks. They
which probably leads to, even if Pine finishes this season and he evolves and all that, I mean, Notre Dame's probably going to need a couple wide receivers in the portal, and who's floating out there at a quarterback. Can they find a JT Daniels next year to come in and be the guy? I'm just throwing him out there because I know he was in the portal.
Ethan, our opinions are wrong all the time, man.
So is ours.
Mine are always right. I'm just kidding. Okay, Craig, let's get to you. I thought Tommy Rees was going to have a stroke in the booth.
Yes.
What was I wrote down the quote because I watched it back a few times.
I did not do that.
Do your effing job. The team is counting on you. That's what I saw. Pine responded, man. Good for him. Like, I have the biggest thing for me for Pine tonight was that he took that on the chin and then went out and improved his game. So good for him. Because if my boss yelled at me and said, do your effing job, blue and gold is counting on you, I'd be like, I don't know how. I don't think I would take that very well. I'd point the finger and be like, oh, well, Patrick posted this article a minute late, or Tyler didn't do an amazing job on this YouTube video, which you know, they're never late or do not amazing job. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would point. I don't have thick skin like that, like Drew Pine does apparently.
No, you're right. Some guys will falter, which is, it does happen. Some guys will just be like, well, you know what, especially nowadays, right? Nowadays, these coaches are going to have to get used to this, because is the guy going to whine and cry and be like, well, I'm going to leave December 10th anyway, so who gives a damn?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, these coaches need to coach the way they do, toughen up, and, you know, that'll be nice to go back on the rewatch and see what his numbers were, obviously, right when that moment happened. What drive was that? Was that after the second or third drive?
Was it after the fumble?
Was it after the fumble? Yeah, I'm
let us know. Let us know.
But you're right, Mike. What did he finish? 14 of 15. It wasn't vertical shots. They're not going deep post. It was efficient. Get the ball going. Move the chains. And Notre Dame sustained some nice drive. What was the time of possession? I haven't seen that when you posted that.
That is a good.
It felt like
I've been kind of going back and forth with Grim Jim here. So I want to. He says Pine is not the answer, but he's what we have, so we need to put him in a position to succeed. That's what we've been talking about this entire show. And he went. I mean, he didn't throw a ton of yards, but that Notre Dame offense is exactly what I was expecting for this week. Run the ball. Don't turn the ball over much. Of course, they did one, or don't turn the ball over at all is obviously the goal, but like just play smart football. And what are your strengths offensively? Your tight end, running backs, offensive line, and use those guys. And Notre Dame did, but Notre Dame did. Excuse me. Time of possession. Notre Dame 33 to Cal 26.
Okay. All right. So over half the ball. Okay, that's good, because obviously Cal had a couple nice drives, but someone who has said Pine's he's not the answer because he didn't win the starting job. Let's remember that Pine's not the answer, because last year we never saw him after the Cincinnati game. I think if anything, we could always sit back here and question, why didn't you go out and get an experienced quarterback to help Buckner, take over the reins and whatnot? We could talk about that till we're blue in the face, but Pine's not the answer, but he is the guy, because Angeli is not. I mean, Freeman even said this. Angeli is not taking a varsity rep, meaning with Rees in the offense, in the last month. He's been doing scout team. This week, this Monday was they have Monday off. This Tuesday was the first time Angeli had been with Rees and the first team offense. So he's only been there a few days. People are going to throw him in. Hey, if Pine keeps going 17 of 23, 17 of 25, 150 to 225 every week, and they can run the ball like they did and just keep getting more confidence on defense as Golden fits into his scheme. I'm telling you, we talked about this the other day, Mike. Throw the first two games away. There's 10 games left.
Yeah.
If you tell us Notre Dame's going to go 8-2 the rest of the way, take it. It will be a massive accomplishment with this football team. And we're going to see a lot of these Cal Notre Dame football games the rest of the way. They just are.
Mike says he's undefeated as a starter. I'm going to say it till he loses. Go Deep says just rewatch the Rees clip. Looks like he says step the F up and deliver the ball.
Take ownership. Take ownership. You're the quarterback at Notre Dame. Take ownership of this situation. Quit being nervous. Quit thinking you're the 10-year-old wearing Notre Dame gear back in Connecticut. No one cares. You're the guy now. Take ownership. Lead this team. 14 of 15, right, Mike? After that first quarter.
Yeah, I'm not a lip reader, but I'll take your word for it. Okay. Let's move on to North Carolina. I say favored this.
That's their first.
Can we outscore North Carolina? That's the question. So they allowed. Go ahead, Tim.
No, I had no idea. I knew they played Appalachian, but it's like they literally started their. This is a ACC. UNC is a damn good. I mean, UNC could be a powerhouse someday if they ever get the right guy in there with the facilities, the money they have, the Jordan brand. And your season starts off like this with 3 basically 1AA.
Few thoughts here, Tim. One is I've always said, or at least for the past few years, I never want to hear anyone talk about North Carolina and Iowa State as contenders until they get close to actually being contenders. I mean, they're undefeated right now, but you allowed 24 points to Florida A&M. I know App State just went on a Hail Mary today. I don't know who they played, but App State,
Troy? They had the game day. They beat Troy today. That was the game day.
Didn't even watch a second of it. Driving from Charlotte.
Neither have I yet. Wow.
You give up 61 points to App State, and then why is North Carolina playing on the road at Georgia State? But that's besides the point.
Wow.
35-20. I mean, they give up 28 points to Georgia State. So this North Carolina defense looks like it's very sus, Tim.
Well, that's why today was so huge. Today was huge. Regroup, celebrate, do the fight song, do all that stuff. Sunday night, they're going to practice tomorrow night, right? Freeman's already said they practice Sunday. Tomorrow, Sunday's practice is going to be, boom, this is where we're at, guys. This rally, we got to go on the road. Focus in this week. Let's go and get after this North Carolina football team. And you're right. Offense could get hurry. I mean, they could get good real quick playing a team that just gives up that sieves out there. That's a lot of points against a Georgia State, a Florida A&M, Notre Dame's going to play at Tennessee State next year. So if they give up 28 points in that game, people lose their mind.
Notre Dame's always been tested. Marshall. I thought Marshall was actually a pretty good football team, but you at least played a P5 team account. You went to the shoe. Notre Dame has played.
Yes.
I mean, even North Carolina has just held serve, basically. They played 3 group of 5 teams.
Yes.
So it's like they haven't really played anybody at all. So I think Notre Dame.
Well, you know what, Mike?
What would you put the line at?
Man, I wonder if it's out. Don't tell me. I would be like where Notre Dame and UNC is. You know what? UNC's at home. UNC +3 or -3, but minus.
You think North Carolina is a 3-point favorite?
Why not?
No shot.
What is the line? There's got to be a bet line out there.
I don't know if anyone.
I'm just saying, at home, Notre Dame struggled. Yeah, they beat Cal. Notre Dame has struggled. You got to back up quarterback.
Usually the lines come out on a Sunday, the day after.
I have no idea. There's so many betting apps nowadays. It's like people are doing crazy.
Something out there exists. So if anyone's with us live, see, I think Notre Dame would be about a 4-point road favorite, especially the lines.
Hey.
They will open up toward the bigger name. They'll kind of shift that way a little bit.
You're right.
So I think Notre Dame would be about, I would say about Notre Dame -4.
You got to find a web. What was the web page? There's got to be an early something.
I'm looking it up. I'm
got to be an early line. They have lines before the season even starts. So real quick about Marshall. Yeah. Marshall, we've talked about this in the offseason, Mike, is when Notre Dame scheduled that Marshall game, there was no transfer portal. I'm not saying that's an excuse, but now same with SC this year. SC with 25 transfers. You could get good in a hurry. And they have a coach who's won a national title with Alabama and Saban. So he knows what it takes. He's been on that staff. What they have, 25 freshmen and almost 25? It was like in the high 40s. Marshall had brand new players this year playing this season. So teams that have struggled in the past can regroup in the blink of an eye by just getting depth. And it's not like Marshall got, Conference USA, or Conference USA is not a conference, but they didn't get MAC transfers. They didn't get 1AA guys, right? They got Power 5 dudes all over the place. Or excuse me, Power 5 guys, quarterback, the running back. So the Marshall, no excuses, but those 2 corners dominated that damn football game.
Yeah, so
I saw Marshall Marshall's getting selected in the New Year's Six. I saw on a bunch of stuff before today. So how did they do? Yeah, I'm not Googling anything.
I don't know. I did look up OddsShark. This says Notre Dame -6.5. I don't even
Woo!
know if that's a real spread. I mean, there's nothing else. There's nothing else.
So that's going to go back. If Notre Dame's favored on the road, it's because the name, and no one's respected North Carolina's first 3 games.
Yeah. So I'm not sure on the line. TBD on that. We'll cover that in the Goolsby show tomorrow. Bowling Green 21, Marshall 21. As we record this early in the second half.
Hangover games, man. Well, that's college football. I mean, flip coins in some of these things sometimes. You never know. 21-21. Oh man, what was the line on that game? Who's
17.
Marshall was 17-point favorites.
Yeah.
Notre Dame was 20-point favorites. It's like,
yeah.
I'm laughing because that's college football at its finest, man.
All right, Tim. I'm going to give you about 45 seconds. Any closing thoughts? And you folks won't see Tim until Wednesday night. You good for a show Wednesday night?
I'm here, man. I'm here to talk some ball with you. I'm looking forward to it, and I'll have some good rewatch notes, and there are a few things I'm looking forward to seeing. But no, it was a big win. Sure, we could sit here and pick apart. They didn't do this. They didn't. Big win. It was a struggle early. I think we could all say it looked like Notre Dame was probably going to lose this game 24-6 after the first quarter. It just felt like that, right? Like no momentum, but they got rallied. Pine rallied, and I think the O-line, estimate Chris Tyree showed up. And for the first time in a long time, the front four, which how I got into coaching was coaching the front four. Those guys teed off, played their tails off, and huge win. Celebrate tomorrow. Have a great, great dinner, and go beat UNC. Got to get 2-2 going in this damn bye.
Okay. All right. Well, that's going to do it for us. Please hit that thumbs up before you get out of here. Really appreciate you guys watching to the end here. Mike Goolsby show Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern time, I believe. So make sure you check the Blue and Gold YouTube channel. I'm like 90% sure. To confirm that, though, much more coverage over on the website, blueandgold.com. $1 for 1 year of premium access. There's a recruiting weekend that we'll have scoop on tomorrow and Monday as well. And again, ton of coverage about this game. What Marcus Freeman said. We'll have more YouTube video coverage up as well with more reaction to the game. So as always, we appreciate you folks, and we'll catch you next time.